Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my new reloaded channel. Today I am bringing to you a very controversial topic as it is talking about the history of religions. I'm sorry about that. My computer just made the sound Windows. Okay, sorry. Um, well, religions in plural. Okay, and so we're talking about the history of religions. This topic is key and it carries a great amount of metaphysical energy in a way of mental programming. Since we have memory, okay, so this is very, very, very old, older than the planet Earth. We can say so. This is since our ancestors had memory. Therefore, it is rooted in the memory cells of our ancestral family tree in the deepest chambers of everyone's subconscious minds. Okay, the subconscious mind is the one who is in the deepest level, and it's extremely unconscious because that's what is subconscious. So we actually, human beings, we move in life and we behave and we take decisions sometimes consciously or unconsciously, but subconsciously we have a lot of mental programs, so we have to review every type of program we carry in there. Okay, and it's extremely deep and it's the hardest to find out because our memory cell, our unconscious programs gonna try to defend those programs from being erased, like in a computer. It's like a virus. Okay, anyways, so it's deepest in the deepest chambers of everyone's, like we said, in the ancestral family tree, subconscious mind, and rules our lives. Okay, this is an automatic autopilot our lives in an unconscious manner. Okay, so when you take decisions consciously, then you're awake, but if you take decisions in an unconscious way, then you have to review that and attain consciousness of the unconscious part of you to review your subconscious mind and programs, of course. So, what Platon said here, that we all are recalling, we are remembering, not learning in this realm, in this planet, in this life, in this moment, at this time. Okay, this is what Platon said thousands of years ago. So, if this is true, it could be that those with Uranus or Aquarius in Sagittarius or in the ninth house hold the greatest ability to foresee futuristic perspectives, I think, ideas, observations, or even Uranus conjoining Jupiter. Okay, so check that in your natal chart. And if we have futuristic ideas now, but we are recalling that those ideas already exist, question mark, we have to start questioning everything. Okay, you do your own research and don't believe everything that somebody says, not even what I said, not even what you think that your mother said or your grandmother said. Those are programs, remember, and people are programming people all the time unconsciously. I hear an astrologer saying something about Sagittarius rising, be careful because these Venus star point gonna give you to all Sagittarius risings HID, AIDS, HIV, some kind of sexual disease, even if you're not active, be careful. Oh, come on, those are great, no great, but dumbful programming people with really bad stuff. Okay, if you believe that, then you're gonna catch it. So we create what we believe, remember? So we understand that all that we all come from the future. Um, of course, if those ideas or those futuristic ideas that we have now, they're merely memories from lives or things that already exist in us, we're recalling that we come from the future, right? That got me thinking. Okay, anywho, said this we can mention in regards that Hebrew geometry, the geometry, and the Pythagorean numerology to understand that possibly all roads lead to Rome, but I am not making any reference to the old city of Rome. I mean, to the new city of Rome, Italy, but to Roma. Roma meaning as the main center of everything that could be found in reference of the vintage scriptures, the old scriptures from the Roman Empire, by the very beginning of the human race, making emphasis that Rome was just the ending point that has many different paths that lead us to it, to the point. And that from that end point, we can also turn back, taking another route to reach the initial starting point. That metaphors also let us see or realize that we have the freedom to find other ways to reach point A from B and vice versa, behind the rigidity of Saturn, and to opt for a much more humble approach like Uranus, with much more or a bit of originality and singularity. So that's a good thing, as well as the Fool, in the Tarot, the card, the Fool is ruled by Uranus. It's ignorance is bliss. Be humble. Leap of faith, repeating the number zero also. Now, which is contained in everything that has been created, explains the Kabbalah and the Pythagorean numerology as well. The zero represents the pure energy of the creation itself, our inner light. So if we simply observe this ancient information and we integrate it in ourselves, we can understand that the blissfulness and humbleness, laid back essence of the Fool, we're talking about the Fool and the tarot cards, sorry, is essentially the origin of our souls, and that the zero, the digit, the number zero represents our inner Christ. The tarot, the story of the Fool, expresses the known journey of the hero. As we all know, if you know tarot, and we are talking about Uranus here, the energy of the Fool taking a leap of faith into the unknown is the energy of the new era of Aquarius, ruled by the modern transpersonal planet Uranus. And Uranus is the main character of this new age of the ruling element air, because we are now in the Aquarian era. Now, transpersonal means beyond oneself, so keep that in mind, okay? Remember, transpersonal planets, transpersonal, it's beyond your personal, so it means beyond oneself. So as you can see, we are making great reference of ancient old times, Roman, Apostolic, Catholic, Christian, and furthermore Kabbalistic, metaphysical, astrological and astronomical, philosophical, and all mysticisms ever known, including Hebrew geometry with certain similarities with the Pythagorean numerology, of course. Now, if we want to dish all this away and we simply choose to relate to the so-called Bible story or biblical stories, I better say, biblical stories, I'm not saying history, stories, and I am saying stories rather than history, okay? Note this, please. There's a question made by one of Jesus Christ's disciples here, and you all may remember this. How are we going to know that you are back, our Messiah? They asked to him, right? And what Jesus Christ responded in the story of the Bible, or the biblical story? Just follow the man carrying the cántaro, or the pitcher, the jug of water. That's how the return of the Messiah will be announced worldwide. Now, the counter is the symbol of the Aquarius sign. You know, this pitcher or all clay thing uh, that contains water, actually, and the man carrying a pitcher. Okay, and the Kabbalah explained that Messiah ain't a person. Um, it says that Messiah is a new type of higher consciousness, as well as the name Israel does not represent an ancient, in the ancient scriptures, a nation. Israel doesn't represent a nation, and Messiah is not a man, it's not a person. Okay, keep that in mind. This is ancient scriptures in the Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah is the four higher level of understanding of the study of the Zohar, and the Zohar study the whole Torah, okay, and or other books like the Alaha and Sefer Yetzirah, etc. So, if this is true, and it's all encrypted, of course, instead Israel represents again a type of soul. Those who possess an Israel soul will be elevated. Now, all the rest will be suffer a great deal and perish, as well as all types of separation among us, like all religious. Okay, I'm talking about isms, religions. So Buddhism, Judaism, Christianism, Catholicism, evangelism, whatever you can mention it. Okay, so then this is written. All religions gonna perish. Okay, and all people that cannot hold this new era with the new beliefs, the new type of energy that gonna start vibrating without separation. Okay, like God or Jesus is not a person; it's an energy, a type of energy that lives within us. Okay, so can you see the great amount of lies that are received unconsciously with generating mental programs that have been ruling our lives, uh, running in autopilot from our subconscious minds? Do you see that? Okay. For instance, this is example. If we remember the story that there are three stars, you know, the story of the three stars of the north, and we're talking about the north of the hemisphere, north of course. In astrology, are known as the three wise kings. In religion, are known as the three Marias. But these three stars of the north hemisphere point directly during the winter equinox to the rising sun, and this is the Sun Invictus. During the very dusk moment, so it's super dark, of the first day of the new cycle in the calendar and the year cycle. So, and why we can only see the three stars or are visible during that night? Because in the north hemisphere in winter, at that day, in that time, and it's the darkest night in the sky, announcing the winter equinox. And this story doesn't relate to the south hemisphere because they are in summer. So, where religion was invented or created? Of course, it was created in the old world known as Europe, not in the south hemisphere, because they had their own beliefs, their own types of gods or entities. Like, however, the culture that was closer to the truth was, from my investigation, my studies, I think, is the Incas in Peru, because they worship the sun, the god sun, the godfather sun. The sun in astrology represents our essence, and we born disconnected from our essence. We must learn to identify our inner true self during this journey called life, you know, in this realm, on this planet. So now we are going back a bit in time to understand what the sign of Pisces means or represents for the functioning of the world. Okay, good. The era of Pisces keeps relation with the water element, of course, which metaphysically um, it let's keep moving. I mean, metaphysically, kabbalistically, psychologically represents emotions. This is what I mean. The water element, and metaphysically, kabbalistically, psychologically represents emotions. And if we keep moving forward, the emotions equal our biology, and our biology equals our physical bodies, right? And when our emotions rule our life, they take control over our biology and in our physical health, our rational mind, rational and logical mind. If our emotions are taking control, they're interfering with our mind, which is our brain, our motherboard. Our rational mind and logical mind it's brain fog, basically, and we are blinded. The result is just to observe that our physical health, we get ill, we get sick, because that's how we are feeling. We're feeling doom, because that's the energetic or electric message that our emotions are sending to our minds, our brains. So it creates a virus. We call it in NRP a mental virus. Now, and so, as you can see, as we speak about the eras of ages, I'm saying the era of Pisces because the era of Pisces was before, and that was the era that welcomed all the religions, okay, back then. So you can investigate that. Now and that was war. So religion was part of religions, okay, plural, were part of the history. They were necessary. Now we're in a different era. We're in an era of air, and air is the mind era. Before was emotion era. Now, as we can see, as we speak about the eras of ages, as for Pisces or Aquarius, we have speaking about astrology, since ancient metaphysics were also astrologers. They study the stars, the cosmos, the planets, the visible planets, of course, in the sky, in general terms. Now, as for the Taurus era, we all experienced that tremendous industrial growth that had led that era, the era of Taurus. It was certainly the Industrial Revolution, and whatever was involved with money, of course, and wealth and material wealth. Um, and what does the known religious uh, story says about this era uh, in a written manner? Okay, so-called Bible. When we say the religious story or the Torah, you can say that, etc. Or if we refer to the topic to the Catholic Christianity, that old man built a great golden calf. Remember? So what is this? Astrology in the Bible? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it got me thinking, so everything is related, but it's not in the way that the three wise men as people or persons represented in the story are true, but those are the three stars, like I told you before. But the Bible create this representation with actual human beings for a reason. Now we're gonna get to that. Okay. Everything is encrypted. Taking a look on my notes so I don't forget anything. The hidden encrypted detail, read it and mention it highly, overly mention it. Yeah, it's about the number 12. It's everywhere. Okay. And what does it mean? Okay. A great amount of ancient and relevant religious things, okay, historically wise, of course, like things, events, numbers, or beings, people, persons, tribes, situations, myths, etc. You can name it. Remember that, okay? All messages, or better say, all half truths are encrypted, okay? Remember it. Said this, let's see, for example, 12 are the sons of Jacob, or Jacob, however you want to call it, Jacobo, whatever. 12 are the disciples of Yeshua, ben Joseph. Joshua ben Joseph was the real name of Jesus for the Christians Catholics, because he was Hebrew. It's so funny when I think about Catholics, Christians. They kill all the Jews, but they worship a Jew. That's so incoherent. 12 are the zodiac signs. 12 are the 12 are the complete lunar phases cycles. Yes. 12 are the apocalyptic chapters. 12 are the doors of the New Jerusalem, and 12 are the foundations of the New Jerusalem. 12 are the tribes of Israel. And along with these last mentioning, among many more, I must recall you that Israel is not a nation. One more time, Israel, it's a type of soul, a higher level of consciousness. In regards of the 12 tribes, I believe it holds a close relation with the 12 zodiac signs. And this is my belief. This is what I think from my observations, okay, my studies, which entails 12 types of personalities. And in resume, I can say that maybe all religious beliefs were necessary from a specific time, or for a specific time, in and for the human evolution. And I say maybe because the Kabbalah explains that even the worst barbaries handled by the religious crusades were necessary to build a new conscience. And we all know how horrid was described the story or the history by the crusades, how many were killed, murdered by those called or named men of God with the spade and the sword on the hand. Metaphysically, the sword represents the element air, and the air represents our words, and we speak our thoughts, our mental state. So that reveals the fact that all religions all religions aim, they want to control the mind of the collective by implanting fear, separation, coercion, and emotional manipulation, death, fear to death, of course, and exclusion due to not belonging, not sharing the same ideologies or beliefs, nor worshiping the same gods, you know. And where comes the fear of death? If you think about that, this is completely coherent, implanting fear to death when anything, absolutely nothing, lasts forever. Because if things don't die, there no space or for new things to grow and give birth to it. So they're chosen or created gods. So the history of the religion was written with blood and with the sword. And those are pure facts, guys. Yeah. We're only talking and observing in deep, pure facts here, okay? This is not. If I said my belief, then I will mention that my belief. That's what I said about the zodiac signs and the 12 types of personalities. But these are facts. These are historical facts. Anyways, the Kabbalah also explains about death, like I mentioned before. Death is just a part of life, a very important part of life, but it's also an important part of leaving this physical body to transcend the physical body, to go back to our natural state, which is energy. Now, in regards of the astrologers of that time, the sorcerers, the witches, the shamans, the medicine men, medicine women of ancient history, we all know that they were persecuted, silenced, and killed, murdered, burned, dismembered, etc. Okay, we don't have to get too graphic. Okay, we all know the stories, but horrible stories. But if not, you can always do your own research and study them, please. Anywho, so in resume, we can clearly see through the historical facts that the modus operandi of the sex cult religion was to create disunion, separation, exclusion, coercion, even the fear of simply mentioning those subjects that were labeled as forbidden, which became taboos by society because religions rule society, or better say, society or those who possess the higher power to rule societies are the same who rule religions. And here fits perfectly. Well, the old adagio, create separation and you will reign, you will rule. Because by generating the strong belief of difference doesn't belong between anyone. Society, religion generate the so-called outcast, misfits type of thing. Those who have a mind of its own, independent and free thinkers who defeat or simply do not follow the sleepy herd, um, of unconsciously mental program followers to jump into the void to fit with the preset rules. Well, here I am. I am a misfit, a waking soul. I am not a cool kid. I am more like a badass type of girl. Anyway, going back to history or facts, Jews were persecuted because they did not fit into the religious standards of the ruler back then. And the same criteria of ideology applies nowadays to all those that are perishing on the hand of psychopaths with societal power, and those are facts. We're talking about facts. Those are facts, okay? And yeah, the psychopaths with societal power, and why is all that repeating in history, okay? If you observe that, just close your eyes and think about what happened in World War II. It's happening again. So why is all that repeating in history? Because we haven't learned anything. If we refer to astrological aspects in the current sky in reference to what's happening now and what happened back then, now we can observe the same planetary aspects, but inverted. They're upside down. They're in the opposite side of the wheel, okay? But they have the same aspects, but they are in different signs. In the world natal chart. So meaning that we will see and we're gonna continue see and experiencing very similar occurrences, situations, disasters, and wars right now happening, taking place worldwide, which are mirroring the World War II. And you can see that in the news and hear about it all the time. So please avoid getting scared, nervous, and don't avoid feeding the fear mongering that it's in the news and the YouTube and the TV and every type of media, okay? I said very similar, not 100% equal, but with the same obscure, heavy, chaotic energy leading the mind of those psychos in charge. And at the same time, great new leaders rising up to clear up the sky. They're gonna clear up the sky. But it ain't gonna be fast. So just be patient, okay? And making the difference. They're gonna make a huge difference. Just right what happened in World War II to help build a new world, a new order basically. But is this gonna be something completely different? Remember, guys, because we are in an air era, okay? This is a completely different story. Okay, now, so avoid being surprised, keep it calm, and focus emotionally, intelligently, wise on productive topics for your life, for yourself, for the ones you love, to rise your personal vibration and help yourself to evolve, to change your reality. And remember that we can only handle energy with energy, okay? And our inner energy lies in our emotions. Energy equals energy, emotions, emotions, energy, emotion. And this is written in the Kabbalah. This is metaphysics. This is NLP. NLP reconfirms this strong and powerful fact, okay? NLP in the 60s was known as psycholinguistics, okay? And for those who do not know the roots of the neurolinguistic programming, I must share with you guys that back in the 60s, okay, there was a line of psychology named psycholinguistics, which is our psych plus the combination with our language, okay, and the powerful capability to generate mental programs in our brains, hence the creation, okay, of the NLP. Now we know this as a neurolinguistic programming nowadays, but it was a branch, a line of psychology, okay, to learn and implement our daily basis. We have to learn NLP for ourselves because it's very powerful, the techniques, but it must be studied from a certified school. Um, I obtained my diplomas or register certifications from the USA NLP Society School of Richard Bandler. The two original founders are John Green and Richard Bandler. So don't be fooled by any other school or teachings that don't come from these two men, okay? Check very well for you. And of course, you can study or be coached by registered and certified members like me. But I am saying this because there's a lot of fakes out there selling courses, but they do not possess all the necessary tools because they haven't learned anything. They just resell stuff that they found online, I guess. It's called garage things, like bootleg stuff. Speaking um, of knowledge, of course, okay? And they are causing a lot of harm instead of good. So just be very selective and do your research when it comes to NLP, okay? Perfect. Because there's a lot of controversy from people that lack of knowledge is pure ignorance. So you better do your own research and find your own ways and take your own decisions based on what you found, not what you read or other people are talking about, okay? All right. And what about the undeniable fact that religion, or better say, the history of the Catholic, Christian, Apostolic, and Roman religion, as the whole phrase clearly states, was rooted in the Roman history? Why? Because religion itself was created or invented during the Roman epoch, the Roman era, the Roman Empire, or the Roman age, by the Roman Emperor Constantine. And you can, of course, find out about this and what for, what it was created for, you know? Well, that's a really wise question that you can make yourself because the control of the citizens of the Roman Empire was slipping away from his hands. So he, Constantine, the emperor himself, summoned all the metaphysicals known for that time as Kabbalists, I already told you, to encourage them to create or invent a so-called religion or story about this religion to be able to regain control over the land and its citizens by implementing a sort of coercion in the insidious emotional manipulation and the stories among the masses. You know, that's what he wanted to regain control through fear, because you have to fear this so-called God, because otherwise he's gonna punish you or kill you or make you suffer. And God is love, so that's a pure lie. Now remember that in ancient times, metaphysic masters were known as Kabbalistics, as I said before, or Sadiqs, which means wise man in Hebrew language, or Arameo, which is the rooted language from Hebrew. Okay, let's go back to the main topic. Remember that we are discussing only facts, only historical facts, only facts, no speculations. Okay, good. What else we can talk about? Well, this group of wise men decided to hide the truth among the lies of the religious story invented or created by them, following the orders of Constantine the Emperor. And the reason why they did it, meaning hiding the truth among the religious programs, religious beliefs, was because they knew back then that once the new era of Aquarius right now, that we are right now entering, starting, arrived, finally, these hidden truths, okay, will start coming up to the surface slowly but steady during this long period of the new era of Aquarius as we are now, okay? But we are just starting. So a sign of air, which is Aquarius, ruled by the element of air, and the planet is Uranus, and this planet is known as the ruler of Aquarius, of course, but it's disruption, is disruptor, is the thunder, and he will be stationed, parking basically, for 7 years, manifesting mystical things in the sign of Gemini, another air sign. So an air planet in an air sign ruling the world, the mind of everyone, because the Gemini, which is another air sign element, ruled by Mercury, the planet, which represents our own mind. And Uranus is the mind of everyone, the collective, which is Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius in the 11th house, the society, okay, and or the groups of people also. And so, just by observing these planetary placements, they knew back then, these people, the wise men, the Kabbalists or the metaphysics in this Roman time, that we all people by this time, by this era right now, we're gonna start waking up from the made up stories or illusions of the limited religious beliefs, because they're limited, okay, which have had turned into the deepest mental programs that we were all, by no exception, exposed to, okay, and immersed by no choice during centuries. But the main reason why this group of metaphysicals or Kabbalists created and invented this story the way they did it was because it had to be believable back then, okay, by the people, by the citizens of the Roman Empire and the emperor itself. Therefore, they included keywords in a way of patterns. Like, for instance, we know that the number 7 is repeated everywhere all along the scriptures. The number 12, the number 13, the number 33, the code 369, etc., 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 you can name it, because the story of religion was based in astrological and astronomical hidden facts. Because the story of religion was based in astrological and astronomical hidden facts. So we're reaching to the end of this summary of or brief facts resume in this topic today about the religions and astrology, of course, to observe the nowadays worldwide situation. Facts is that the world as we know it is shifting, is changing, evolving, and anything will be the same again now, okay? Remember that the world normal has caused a lot of harm There's nothing normal, or who says who's normal and what is not normal, because what is normal for me may not be normal for you. So it takes perception and standards for individual people to say the word normal. So ditch it out. Don't use it. Avoid using that. Is that nothing gonna be the same? Okay. Remember that all changes come along with certain amount of turmoil, and how we process these experiences in our minds play a significant and highly important role into the outcome or results. So perspective is key here, okay? Your own perspective. No, but my perspective, but your perspective. We create in our outer world of reality what we believe as possible in our inner world perspective. Okay, so to close this topic today, I'll share with you guys an NLP coaching tip as a gift, so you can process these sentence that I'm gonna give it to you as a mantra. Maybe you can take it as a mantra or as a quote, something to explore and to observe in your own terms. So pay attention to this. You can be saved from an economic crisis. We all can be saved from an economic crisis, but from your own beliefs, your very own beliefs, nothing, absolutely nothing can save you but yourself, but your own self. Okay? Okay, guys. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate your chase. If you like the video, if you have any comment, I would love to read you, to answer you. And that's it for today. Okay. And I wish you all the best and see you until the next one. Bye bye.